It's with great pleasure that at last I get to introduce you to Sharon Chunilall, my friend, and the lady who's going to talk to us about psoriatic arthritis. I don't want to take up too much time. The way we are recording is in the same room, therefore you won't see my face, you'll only hear my voice, and you will see Sharon. So without further ado, we would like to get started, but welcome, Sharon.
Thank you so much, Sue. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Fantastic. So please, can you give us some of the history of your journey with psoriasis and the associated arthritis?
Okay, basically, I was diagnosed with psoriasis around the age of 10 or 11. And I honestly believe this started during puberty, definitely, because I've done some research and I realized a lot of issues, autoimmune diseases, get either begin during some changes, hormonal changes in your life, or during some stressful times in your life. And in my case, I honestly believe it was due to puberty that I was first diagnosed with psoriasis. So I basically had issues with my scalp initially, and I also was just a bit anxious and depressed and wondering what's going on, because this just continued for quite a while. And eventually, when I got a proper diagnosis, I basically was referred to a dermatologist, who then started me with the allopathic meds like the prednisone, and also I had to use some applications on my skin like coal tar preps, and also had to use some cortisone creams, and that continued for many years. But I actually realized they were not working, and I started to see a homeopath who was actually practicing illegally in the country, funny enough.
Okay.
So he helped me so much with homeopathic pills, and I was really impressed. And I continued with the treatment until he actually had to leave the country.
Wow.
So during those years of having the psoriasis, I was a very sporty person, and I wanted to be involved in everything. I was a type who could never make up my mind. I just wanted to be part of the action when it came to sport and drama, music, academics. So it was, I think I put a bit of stress on myself when it came to every aspect of my life. And I wanted to be an overachiever to a certain extent. But I did neglect my academic work to a certain extent. I prefer being out on the field, practicing gymnastics and playing sport. So I must say I was blessed that I actually did do pretty well in school, despite spending so much of time doing other stuff. And my late dad actually was really upset because he was worried about me getting hurt. And that's what happened. I was constantly hurting myself, and I ended up having issues with my neck from a pretty young age, doing gymnastics, and calves, where I was actually asked to stay away from sport for a year, and it was very depressing for me. So basically that continued until my 20s. And I think the knee, especially my left knee, got really bad around the age of 20, I think it was about 27. And I was still doing a lot of sport and going to the gym and pushing myself as usual. And I was only diagnosed, I think when I was actually on my 34th birthday, I got up with a swollen knee. And then I got to see an orthopedic who did an aspiration of my knee and blood tests. And that's when I was diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis.
Okay, so in your early 30s,
yes,
was when that came about.
Yes, even though I did have symptoms earlier on, it was never really picked up, and I just ignored it, trying to, I was always hoping that it was not arthritis. So I preferred to be blissfully ignorant.
I don't even know that one.
Yeah, exactly. So that's basically where it all started with that diagnosis at the age of 34. And then I was put onto non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs and immunosuppressants. And I won't mention all the names, but I went through a whole course of them together with a rheumatologist. And unfortunately, nothing really worked for me. So she actually battled with me because I was having side effects with everything. And I actually quit my job because I could not continue taking those meds. I was exhausted all the time, and my immunity was also really bad.
Sure. So that was all because, would you say, because of the medication itself, or because of a mixture of the arthritis, the psoriasis, and the medication?
I'd say it was more the medication because the arthritis and psoriasis I was managing okay until I went onto these meds, and I just feel like I was in a worse condition than I'd ever been before. I'm not making excuses for the fact that I did have an issue with the arthritis at the stage, but I honestly wish I had never gone onto any of those drugs because they really did mess me up.
Thanks for that. And then I know that you have spoken about going to see an Ayurvedic doctor. Was it around the same time that you went to him?
Actually, I was seeing an Ayurvedic doctor in, I think, around 1997, because as I'm sure you and anyone who's done research on psoriasis would realize, there are so many associated diseases, or should I say conditions related to psoriasis. And some of them were gut issues, which I did present from a young age. And it got pretty bad in 97. And, after having all my blood tests and also undergoing a few procedures, I decided not to go on to the prescription meds because they were pretty strong. And I did consult with an Ayurvedic doctor who helped me within 3 months, sorted out my gut issues. And I also had issues with my cysts, cervical cysts, and fibroids as well. So everything seemed to have sorted out using an Ayurvedic lifestyle and Ayurvedic medication. And so I realized that I needed to revisit the Ayurvedic route with respect to my arthritis as well. So basically, what the doctor did was, with respect to the lifestyle, he asked me to basically try and follow a vegetarian diet, and also to not have too much of dairy. There were just a few dairy products that he did allow. And that definitely helped my skin a lot. And it seemed to help with the arthritis to a certain extent. But I've had to chop and change over the years.
Chop and change medication or doctor?
It was all of the above. So I had to chop and change my medication, my doctors, and also my nutrition and lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you had to like readjust it a number of times since
Yes.
97?
Absolutely. Since 97, I've made major adjustments. And one of the reasons was because in 2007, I was actually diagnosed with sarcoidosis of the lungs.
Okay.
And so it was really bad at the time. I had just, I think it started on my birthday as well. It's so funny. It's really strange. I got up with really bad cough and it just persisted, and it was really, really annoying. And I had to undergo procedure to actually do a biopsy of my lung. And funny enough, a doctor who was actually an older doctor who was the anesthetist at the time made a comment that made me wonder about it. I don't know if I should say this, but he basically said to me, he's seen a lot of cases where people had been on medication like me, and they did develop sarcoidosis of the lungs.
Wow.
So
how interesting.
that got me thinking. I mean, believe me, Sue, I have nothing against allopathic meds. I honestly believe there's a time and a place for allopathy and modern medicine. Definitely, it works in many cases. But obviously, in my case, it definitely didn't work. So that's why I considered going onto this holistic lifestyle change and incorporating different healing modalities in my life.
Okay.
And that's what I've been doing ever since.
Okay, so was it the sarcoidosis that really got you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and what the doctor said obviously must have had quite a big influence on you.
Yes, and I must admit, I saw a new doctor when I was diagnosed, Ayurvedic doctor, when I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis, and he put me on a very strict diet and some medication. And I promise you, within 3 months, my lung functioning went from like 40% up to 70%, and now it's like 80%. So it really made a huge difference. And despite the fact that the doctor told me that I had to go and take prednisone, and I said, I'm not prepared to after my past experiences. And, I think he thought I was a really difficult patient, but I understood my body better than anyone else. And I refused to go back on any strong medication. And I must also say that what happened with respect to the Ayurvedic lifestyle, it actually changed over the years, because even the doctors change according to what they pick up in your body type, according to your pulse. That's quite amazing, because your body type does change.
Sure.
It does change, definitely.
That's so interesting.
Yes, in Ayurveda, you get Vata, Kapha, and Pitta.
Yeah.
And yes, mine changed 3 times over the past 15 years.
Wow.
So that was quite amazing.
Yes.
And it's all about your diet, nutrition, your lifestyle, definitely.
Okay.
And definitely the weather also affects your body type.
Wow. That is so interesting. So just a question on that then. Has it changed, say, from one to another and then back to that one, or have you gone through all 3 stages of?
I've gone through all 3 stages, but
Right.
actually I did do a consult with the doctor a couple of weeks ago, and he said it's actually now more balanced, because I had like different stages where there was issues like where it was off balance as such.
Okay.
But now my body is definitely more balanced with respect to the body types.
Okay.
So I feel healthier, and even my blood tests prove that, that I actually am in a better place. Although the healing process is still going on, I've got to continue working through all my issues. And there have been a lot of issues, as I told you before, and I did also have to change my diet a couple of times. And for the past 2 years, I'm more, I follow more of a vegan Ayurvedic keto lifestyle, if you understand what I mean.
Okay.
Yes.
So mainly vegan.
Yes.
And then even within the vegan, more keto.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. But also with respect to that, I did also try doing the whole food plant-based lifestyle, but that didn't work. And also my Ayurvedic doctor said, I do need the fats, the healthy fats,
Okay.
because with the whole food plant-based, you cut out all your oils and fats. And he said, no, in your condition, you really need it. And I did do my own research, and I've studied all different types of nutrition, from naturopathic to normal holistic nutrition and Ayurvedic nutrition. I've been certified in all of them. And that's why I understand my body better. And I know everyone isn't going to be able to study all these things, but with me, I've always been passionate about nutrition and a healthy lifestyle.
Right. Yes. And you and your husband are both, you both follow a very healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Yes. And that's been for most of your life.
Most of my life, yes.
So just a quick question. Can you tell us what parts of your body have been most affected by the psoriatic arthritis?
Okay, so basically at the moment, I have a problem with my fingers, which have some deformity, as you can see.
Okay.
And that actually started even whilst I was on the allopathic drugs. I did actually have the problem. It had already started. And then my knees were both affected. Even my toes have been affected. I've had a problem with my neck and my spinal column as well. So it's not as bad as I've experienced in the past. There've been some positives, definitely some good positive changes, especially since I changed my diet and lifestyle. That was just in I think in 2019 when I became vegan, and definitely I wish I had done it sooner. I really, really wish I had done it sooner. And then in 2019, I also had to have a knee replacement on my left knee, which had been an issue for almost 20 years. So I had actually left it to get to this point where it was so bad that I was in a wheelchair for a couple months.
Right.
And I did have the knee replacement. The procedure itself was a success, but my body I did start to develop other issues with my muscles and tendons and nerves post-op. And I'm still healing. A lot of people, wonder why I'm taking so long to heal, but I've learned to just ignore the comments and judge people judging me, because I know that I've pushed myself pretty hard, maybe sometimes a bit too much, to the point where I could actually hurt myself. And I've actually recently had to stop yoga because the doctor said I was actually causing more harm doing the yoga. So yeah, it's been pretty tough.
Yes, and I really can relate to what you're saying, because I think it's got a lot to do with it being an autoimmune disease, isn't it? And when you have an autoimmune, the healing just takes so much longer, and you have to be far more patient and gentle with your body. And that just is the way, and I'm sure people who've
Absolutely.
got any kind of autoimmune would agree with you there.
Absolutely. It's very difficult to explain to people because, there's so many different forms of arthritis, like you mentioned in your previous video, whereas with psoriatic arthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, it is an autoimmune disease. And there are so many different factors that could affect it,
Right.
And definitely, it's still quite a journey. This is a long healing journey.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And do you find you have to be more patient with yourself?
Oh, yes. That's something I've had to learn. I've been pretty hard on myself most of my life. And I think it's been the biggest lesson to stop being so hard on myself and stop pushing myself so hard. And I've seen so many doctors, I've seen physiotherapists, osteopaths, chiropractors, homeopaths, Ayurvedic doctors, and they all have the same message for me. Stop being hard on yourself and stop pushing so hard, because they understand my personality type. I've always been the one who wants to push myself and to the detriment of my body.
That's really good to know. You know that your doctors have been with you for so long.
Yes.
And they really know your personality type at the same time.
That's exactly it. Yes.
And then just a bit more on the food, please.
Yes.
Other than, because for my own personal help here, can you just briefly explain the difference between vegetarian and vegan? What can a vegan have that a vegetarian doesn't have?
Okay, the basic difference between vegetarianism and veganism is veganism is actually more lifestyle, because you basically stop eating and also wearing anything that is animal based or comes from an animal. So it's all got to be cruelty free. So that includes no milk and dairy products, no honey, no silk and leather and things like that. So I'm also doing it for the animals, the environment, the planet, for my body, all of it. It started off initially because more the health benefits, but then I realized, I want to do this the right way. I want to do it because it's the right thing for me, and also because I am an empath, and I feel for all living creatures, all sentient beings. And I felt like if there's anything I can do to help the planet and the animals and veganism, it is for me.
Thank you for that. Okay, that's very helpful. Now then, other than food, what do you use to help reduce inflammation and pain? And how have these helped, and for how long?
Okay, so I've gone through lots of different Ayurvedic meds over the years. There are so many out there, but I would insist if anyone wants to try them, they should not do it without the advice of a proper Ayurvedic doctor or practitioner who knows and understands your body type, because there are certain Ayurvedic meds that would work for someone for certain body type, but would actually make my condition worse because of underlying issues that I might have. So you can't experiment with Ayurvedic medication on your own. I would always advise you to get professional help before you start with them. But besides that, I also take some other herbal supplements, like my omega-3s, and also do cannabis oil, which has been amazing. I wish I had actually started this earlier as well. I think it's, I started it almost 3 years ago, and I have definitely seen an improvement with respect to pain, because I've tried to some days, try not to take anything, any cannabis, and definitely the pain's much worse. I mean, if I hadn't taken my cannabis today, I wouldn't have been having this interview right now, because it's quite bad. The pain sometimes all over my entire body when I get up in the morning is like, it's torture getting out of bed. So I basically drag myself around until like 10 o'clock. And that's when I start to feel better, because the cannabis starts to kick in and all my other supplements start to kick in as well. And then I also do things like Epsom salt baths, and I also do, I meditate, I do some yoga. Well, I don't really do much yoga like I used to. I just do basic stretches. And I've also been practicing Qigong now for a while, which definitely helps. And obviously, I start my day every single day with Reiki. And I promise you, if I did not do the Reiki every morning, I think I'd be an absolute basket case, because it helps balance me emotionally, mentally, physically. And even when I feel really grotty and miserable, it helps me get out of bed as well.
And right now, I think I'd like to just make a little bit of an advert for you, and tell everybody that you are the Reiki teacher that I would recommend all people to go to, because you've got the patience and the passion, and that is so amazing.
Thanks, Sue. Thank you so much. I've had the most amazing teachers. That was Sue, and she inspired me actually to get more involved in that energy healing and spiritual healing, and that's why I've also studied other modalities of healing, like crystal healing, which I practice as well, and color therapy, and I've done a bit of neuro-linguistic programming, and even certified in a vegan lifestyle coach.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've done quite a few different healing modalities, and definitely they help me to help myself, and it also helps me to help others who need the help. So thank you, Sue, for inspiring me many years ago. You started that journey of energy healing for me. And I would very comfortably and confidently say that I know it works because I see it working on myself and on clients that I see.
Right. And you do also teach, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I love teaching. I think I'm more passionate about the teaching now. As I've gotten older, I've become more obsessive sometimes, to the point of wanting to always share everything I learn with my students. And I've changed things over the years. Whenever I pick up something new, I introduce it to my students as well. And it's been an amazing journey. And I think with anyone who has an autoimmune disease, I would suggest getting some form of energy healing as well. Definitely, it helps you.
Yes, thank you for that, Sharon. That is such a good point. And just quickly to just ask if I can put your details in the description for people to contact you for lessons.
Absolutely.
Or for a session.
Thank you, Sue. That would be wonderful. Okay. I really appreciate that.
Okay, great. And then also just Ayurvedic doctors as well, maybe a name or two, or
yes.
where they can look for Ayurvedic
sure.
doctors. Okay, super. So of course, because it's essential herbal products that we're talking from this perspective, are there any particular herbs or essential oils that you've used that you have found helpful?
Yes, over the years, I think I've always been interested in essential oils because I did work in the chemical and pharmaceutical field for many years. I graduated in analytical chemistry, and one of my jobs, funny enough, was analyzing essential oils.
Oh, wow.
So I used to love sniffing all the essential oils. That was part of the tests we had to do in the laboratory. So, and I was very privileged and blessed to have pharmacists who worked with me, who also introduced me to a lot of healing benefits with respect to the oils. And so I did apply it from a young age. And I used to use lavender very often. I think it's still one of my favorite oils, especially when I'm anxious or stressed or battle to sleep. I always use lavender, but it also has a calming effect on the skin sometimes. So I have played around and made my own concoctions of oils blended with carriers. I do rosemary. I've used rosemary, lavender, geranium. I've also tried, I think it was basil, grapefruit, juniper, and what was the other one? Sandalwood as well. And also frankincense, yes. Okay. So over the years, I have been fiddling around and playing with them. I must admit, they do give me some sort of relief for a while, but obviously, because it's just topical, it's just a temporary relief. So I, to this day, I still use massage therapy, which is a form of Ayurveda, using sesame oil as a base. And then I do add some other oils according to what I'm feeling at the time. So when it comes to essential oils, always work with my intuition as well.
Okay.
And see what I need at that time.
And when you say massage therapy, you do the massage on yourself?
Yes. In Ayurveda, they suggest, especially if you've got an autoimmune disease, to do self-massage every day, especially on the points that are a problem area. So I try and do it every day. I try not to skip. There's very few days that I've skipped it, and it definitely helps me a lot.
That is, and self-massage, or what areas or what points of your body do you do that on?
I usually do it on the joints, all my joints, and areas where my muscles feel tight or tendons feel tight as well. So any area where I'm experiencing a bit of pain, I tend to massage those areas. But with respect to that, I also sometimes do a massage at night using magnesium oil, especially because my neck tends to be a bit of an issue at the moment. So I've been using a lot of magnesium oil at night.
Fantastic. Oh, that's very interesting. Can I ask you a personal question? Where do you get the magnesium oil from? Or do you make it up yourself?
No, I actually buy it. I know there are many recipes to make it up yourself, but I'm just a bit lazy, and I've been so busy recently doing so many things that I just buy it either from a health store, a health food shop, or I get it from just Skim sometimes. So there are a lot of different brands out there. Just try and get one that doesn't have too many ingredients in it.
Okay.
I think the one I'm using right now has magnesium chloride, and it also has a bit of MSM.
Okay.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yep. So
Thank
you can research that and see what works for you.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. Now, I'm sure you've used our arthritis relief cream. I think you did try it.
Yes.
But I think it was when your knee was really bad.
Yes.
Was it helpful at all for the type of arthritis you have?
It actually did give me some relief, but the reason why I didn't continue was because on that area I did have some psoriasis, and it tended to irritate the skin a bit. And I noticed I have that problem with magnesium oil as well, because whenever I've applied it to like my neck area, like I've just noticed last night I couldn't use it because I had a spot of psoriasis on my neck, and it really hurt. It stings. Okay. So I do have you've got to see what works for your skin as well. Okay. So
with the psoriasis, that could be an issue that they have to take into account.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. That's very helpful.
Yes.
And do you have times of remission? And if so, how long do they last?
I've had, I don't know if you could call it remission. I've had a couple of days sometimes where I don't feel too much of pain. And that's when I think I sometimes tend to overdo it, because I get really excited. Now I've got no pain. And that's when I go and start cooking up a storm and pushing my body to its limit. And a couple of those times, I know I went into the swimming pool and I really had such fun in there, and I swam too much, and then I got out of the pool and I was really sore later. So that is the problem. When you're feeling really good, do not push yourself, because the condition's still there, but you're having a good day. So don't overdo it. I think that's one of the things anyone who has my condition needs to know.
I like the way you say that. If you're having a good day, in other words, just enjoy the good day without pushing your body to
exactly. Yes.
Thank you. That's helpful. And this is more personal, I know, but what emotional and mental issues have arisen due to your many years of health challenges?
Yes, with respect to my emotions, they've been all over the place. I think since I was a teenager, I went through stages of anxiety, depression, and lots of stress. I placed stress on myself more than anything else, because I was constantly anxious about my condition and what people would say if they looked at my skin, because, you know, not everyone understands psoriasis. So it was very, very much a difficult stage for me, especially as a teenager. I think as I grew a bit older, it didn't bother me that much about what other people thought about it. I mean, now I even flaunt my my fingers and I really don't care what people think, because I'm the one living with the condition, and people will judge you no matter how you look or what you say. So it's been a difficult lesson for me. And I've learned to now just accept my condition and stop fighting it. I think that's one of the other things you need to learn to do, is stop fighting it and accept it and embrace it. Because if you fight it and you constantly angry with yourself, which is what I was, constantly angry and upset. What have you done wrong? Why are you doing this? Is it something from your past life? What is it? Part of your karmic journey, you know? So I've done a lot of inner work and healing on every level, and questioning everything and everyone around me. and I stopped blaming others and started blaming myself.
Yes. So that I find very helpful is because it's the anger towards yourself that can actually even cause more pain, can't it? More inflammation.
Absolutely. I think anger and stress are the worst emotions because when I've noticed that I go to bed upset or angry, I promise you, I get up in the morning feeling miserable. I'm sore all over, and even my skin flares up. So I get up and I know I shouldn't have been so hard on myself or hard on whoever's around me. I sometimes just lash out at anyone who's around me. So I tend to try and control my temper these days. And I must admit that cannabis has helped me so much with that.
Okay.
I'm much more calm and relaxed than I used to be before I was on cannabis oil. It's helped me with so many different issues because I even at one stage, even my blood pressure was elevated.
Okay.
And the doctors wanted me to go onto medication because it was really high. And it's because I was in so much pain as well. And it's taken a while, but it's stabilized on cannabis oil.
Fantastic. Which shows how much it was caused by emotions.
Absolutely, definitely.
Okay. Sure. Now, I know that you've made many journeys to India, which have brought you great times of relief.
Yes.
Would you be willing to share some of this with us?
Oh, yes. India. I miss India so much. I promise you, the reason I started going to India was initially I was seeing one of the Ayurvedic doctors in South Africa who did a form of therapy called Panchkarma. It's quite, it's very intensive and extensive, should I say, because it's over a period of a minimum of a week up to a month of treatment. So when I had the treatment initially in South Africa, I think in 2001, I think it was 2001, it really gave me amazing results where I was feeling so much better. My joints were definitely improving. And he said to me at the time, you know, you need to do this every 6 months to a year, but it was pretty expensive to do it here. So then I realized it was actually cheaper to fly to India and have it done. And that's why we started. I'm blessed to have a husband who understood, and he said to me, this is it, and we're going to do this. So from the year 2005, we started going to India regularly whenever we could afford it, even though the doctor said, you know, you need treatment every 6 months to a year. So I started going to India and I tried different centers, Ayurvedic centers in India, because obviously we wanted to make it an enjoyable trip. So we did some sightseeing on each trip. We did the sightseeing before treatment because they advise you to do that because after your treatment, you're actually quite exhausted because they do a lot of detox, different forms of detoxing. They call it Basti, and it's purgation using different methods as well. And then, of course, there's a very strict diet and massage therapy. And they work on every level as well, mental, physical, emotional. So when you finish your treatment, you're actually quite exhausted on every level as well. So I would advise anyone who wants to try it out to always do it after you've done your sightseeing.
Okay.
Because you really don't have the energy to do sightseeing after the treatment.
Right. Yeah. That's incredible. So when was the last time you went?
Well, unfortunately, the last time I've been was in 2017.
Okay.
So I'm lucky because I do have 2 doctors that I see at the moment, Ayurvedic doctors. One is from India, who prescribes meds for me, and I see every now and then, but he's actually in India at the moment as well. And then I have a friend who's an Ayurvedic doctor. I'm really lucky. So she, when I couldn't make it to India, she used to do massage therapy for me as well. And it definitely helped. So it wasn't as intensive and extensive as it was in India. So we do it for shorter periods between 3 and 7 days.
Okay.
Yes. But she has advised me, if I could try and go to India and do it again, because it is a totally different way of doing it. And obviously she doesn't have the equipment and the manpower to do it here. And also with respect to the herbs and the oils, most of them come from India.
Okay.
So it's hard for her to actually get it through to here.
Right.
But I've been very blessed, as I said, to have brilliant doctors who've been with me through this journey, advising me and always there for me when I need assistance.
Sure. That is really fantastic. Thank you. It sounds so amazing.
Thank you.
Now, there's so much information regarding psoriatic arthritis that I was wondering if you had anything important that you feel people who've just been diagnosed may need to know.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I would say the first thing is look at your diet and lifestyle. That is the first step, because I wish that I had, gone vegan earlier in life, and also eliminated things like sugar when I was younger, because sugar is definitely a no-no with most autoimmune diseases. And I was a sugar addict. That's the fact. As a teenager, I was a sugar addict. My mom, my family and friends, whoever knew me, knew that I loved chocolates and cakes and biscuits, the usual treats. And I was spoiled because my mom baked almost 3 times a week when we were young. So we got home to freshly baked scones and cakes and muffins. So yeah, I was very spoiled child in that with respect to my diet. Even though when it came to other things, I was pretty strict, because my mom was pretty strict with her diet and I watched what she ate. But the one thing I was never strict about was the sweets and sugar.
Okay.
So I'd say definitely try and cut sugar out of your diet. And dairy definitely is an issue. There's no doubt about that. If you can, I know it's a long shot, but it would be wonderful if you could try the vegan lifestyle, because it's made a big difference in my life. When I've compared my blood results before I became vegan to now, there's been such an amazing improvement. In fact, even my doctors were amazed when they looked at my bloods, like, wow, they couldn't believe that it was so good. But then I can't just say it's because of the vegan lifestyle only. I think it's also because of cannabis and the Ayurvedic meds, a combination of all those things. But definitely, I'm in a better space now that I'm doing everything natural than I was when I was taking other meds that actually cause more harm to my body.
Right. There was something you said to me the other day, which I found really interesting. It was about pain pills. Was it pain pills?
Yes.
I'm just trying to remember where you said you actually can't take them because you have an adverse reaction to them.
Yes, that's it. I can't take any pain medication. And this has been going on for a long time. Because actually, I'm not sure whether the pain medication is what initiated the problems with my gut, or it was the other way around. But I realized every time I've tried to take painkillers, anti-inflammatory drugs, even when after my knee replacement, I had such a problem in hospital. The doctors battled with me because I couldn't take anything. I was crying because I was in my stomach was sore all the time. In fact, for a month after my procedure, I had to be on blood thinners. Even that affected me so badly that, and I didn't take any of the drugs the doctors prescribed me, because the moment I tried it for 3 days and I was, the pain in my tummy was actually worse than the knee replacement pain.
Wow.
It got so bad. And prior to having the knee replacement, I had just sorted out some tummy issues I had, which was also initiated by trying to take some other medication, and it's hard to explain to doctors because they would say, no, this one's mild, it's not going to affect you. And actually a couple of months ago when I had really bad issue with my hip flexors, which was causing me to limp and walk or walk with a crutch, I actually had to go and get a shot, a tramadol shot with my GP. And I promise you, it was the worst thing I ever did because I was in the worst pain, in such bad pain for like a week. And I had all kinds of issues with my tummy, from diarrhea to constipation, all symptoms of IBS. And it's taken me, I'd say, a couple months to reset it and go back on my the Ayurvedic meds, which have helped it as well. And, I've just got to be so careful with respect to my diet because I've realized even gluten sometimes tends to affect it. So I also try to avoid gluten. There are lots of foods that I've tried to eliminate from my diet, but as I said, it's an ongoing healing journey. So I'm learning something new about my body every day, and I'm hoping that there's going to come a time where I actually start to feel more confident with what I'm doing, because I'm always questioning myself. Am I doing the right thing? And with respect to the protocols that I've followed in the past. And I have followed many protocols. But if anyone does have an issue, they are absolutely welcome to contact me because I can help them on that journey as well. I know because I've helped others as well.
Thank you so much. That is so helpful. And just to make it very clear as well about the pain, I want to go back there because I know a lot of people have, it's an issue they have, is the pain they feel from the arthritis. Is it the cannabis only that you take for that, or is there a related food or Ayurvedic medication as well that helps with pain?
Okay, yes, definitely cannabis. And then I also try to take moringa powder very often because it does help to a certain extent with pain. And then the Ayurvedic meds that I'm on at the moment, they do help to a certain extent with some of the pain, but it's more anti-inflammatory meds that I take, but they are Ayurvedic, so they don't affect your stomach. But I think there are certain foods that definitely aggravate the pain, and everyone's different. Like some people say nightshades are an issue. So I do tend to stay away from things like tomatoes and brinjal and peppers. I have potatoes, but not often. I'd rather have more sweet potato than normal potatoes. But I think everyone's got to basically do some sort of elimination diet initially to see what actually works for them, and then reintroduce the foods gradually into your diet, so because it might work for me and it might not work for someone else. But with respect to pain as well, I think when I really had a very bad day and I'm battling and nothing seems to be working, the only allopathic med I've taken is paracetamol. But unfortunately, it does affect your psoriasis. So your psoriasis starts to flare up. Yes, and then you have itching and all those kinds of things.
Oh, gosh.
That's it, because lots of pain medication and anti-inflammatory drugs actually do affect your psoriasis as well.
Oh, gosh.
Unfortunately.
Right. So you really can help. The people who've contacted me who've just been diagnosed,
yes,
you would be able to give them so much information to stop them having to go through the same journey.
Yes. Absolutely.
And find things that'll help quicker.
Yes.
And then you had to. Sharon, thank you so much. That has been an amazing, I tell you, I could talk to you for hours because it is such an interesting topic, and your journey has been so vast and so different. So thank you so much for sharing it with us. And thank you that people will be able to contact you directly.
Thank you so much, Sue. I really appreciate this opportunity, and you have been a major inspiration in my life too. So I want to say thank you for being part of my journey, because you have been a part of my healing journey. And I will continue to promote your essential oils, because I still use your oils as well. And definitely anyone who has a problem, contact Sue for her oils and herbs that she keeps, because believe me, you will never know until you try exactly what's going to work for you. So to anyone who needs assistance, you can contact me and Sue as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks so